Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics. Christ is in our midst. On July 30th, we commemorate Saints Silas, Silvan, Crescens, Epenetus, Andronicus, the Apostles of the 70, and Saint Julitta of Caesaria. Regarding Saint Silas and Silvanus of the Apostles, Saint Silas was a companion and fellow laborer of the Apostle Paul, and Paul chose Silas and departed, and he went through Syria and Sicilia, confirming the churches from Acts of the Apostles. He later became Bishop of Corinth and reposed in peace, and Silvanus became Bishop of Thessaloniki and also reposed in peace. Saint Crescens, whom St. Paul mentions in his epistle to Timothy, became Bishop of Chalcedon, brought many to the faith. As for him whom the apostle to the nations praises as my well-beloved Epenetus, the first fruits of Achaia unto Christ, from the epistle to the Romans, he became Bishop of Carthage, and after enduring many afflictions from the idolaters and bringing many of them to Christ, he departed to the Lord. O holy apostles, intercede to Christ our merciful God, that he may grant our souls forgiveness of sins. The reading is from the feast. From the Acts of the Apostles. In those days, Paul and Barnabas remained in Antioch, teaching and preaching the word of the Lord, with many others also. After some days, Paul said to Barnabas, "Let us return and visit the brethren in every city where we proclaim the word of the Lord, and see how they are." And Barnabas wanted to take with them John, called Mark. But Paul thought best not to take with them one who had withdrawn from them in Pamphylia, and had not gone with them to the work. And there arose a sharp contention, so that they separated from each other. Barnabas took Mark with him, and sailed away to Cyprus. But Paul chose Silas, and departed, being commended by the brethren, the grace of the Lord. And he went through Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches. From St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Brethren, let anyone who thinks that he stands take heed lest he fall. In other words, when we are standing, if we're not aware of what's happening, if we're not having our feet firmly planted, we can be knocked over by the enemy. No temptation has overtaken you that is not common to man. God is faithful, and he will not let you be tempted beyond your strength. But with the temptation will also provide the way of escape, that you may be able to endure it. In other words, if you know what is coming, and you've prepared yourself and armed yourself with what God has given you, you can escape the conflict. But if you don't, then you are going to be laid out. In boxing, a question that I often ask people is, what is the most dangerous punch? Some will say a right straight. Some will say an uppercut. Some will say a jab. Some will say a punch to the solar plexus. The reality is, all of them are dangerous. The most dangerous punch in boxing is the one you don't see. Any punch can knock you out or kill you. Therefore, my beloved, shun the worship of idols. I speak as to sensible men. Judge for yourselves when I say, the cup of blessing which we bless is not a communion in the blood of Christ? The bread which we break, is it not a communion in the body of Christ? Because there is one bread. We who are many are one body. For we all partake of the one bread, meaning that we are all connected together. This is why the Holy Eucharist is called communion, because it communes us all together and it communes us with God. Consider Israel according to the flesh. Are not those who eat the sacrifices partners in the altar? What do I imply then? The food offered to idols is anything, or that an idol is anything? No, I imply that what pagan sacrifice they offer to demons and not to God. I do not want you to be partners with demons. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. So whatever the idols are, whether it is the pagan sacrifices that St. Paul is talking about, or the idols that we have today, whether it is different lusts or different addictions, be it social media or TV or food or lust. All of these things, we cannot commune with them and commune with the Lord. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. Shall we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than He? This is a very heavy lesson for us. We must be aware that we are at war with the enemy. And if we are not aware of what's going on, the enemy can attack and topple us over in our temptations. But if we are aware and we are able to walk in the ascetical life, God will give us the armor and the weapons to defend ourselves. The Gospel according to St. Matthew. At that time, Jesus strictly charged the disciples to tell no one that He was the Christ. From that time, Jesus began to show His disciples that He must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid, Lord, this shall never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, Get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not on the side of God, but of men. Then Jesus told His disciples, If any man would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. Jesus is giving us the example of self-emptying, kenosis, humility. And that involves us taking up our cross, whatever that may be, and following after Him. Then we will be given the grace to carry that cross with His help. The devil was utilizing St. Peter to try to keep Christ off the path that He was set for Himself. Now, that shows us that people are not the problem. Jesus Christ did not say to Peter, You are a hindrance to me. He said, Satan, meaning that we need to be angry with Satan and not our brothers and sisters when they are being used as tools of the enemy. We must be aware of the spiritual warfare that is actually taking place. I hope that you've enjoyed today's Spiritual Calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.